So this is a one-speaker meeting, and please welcome our speaker tonight, Darryl. Yeah.
Keep it honest.
Okay. Okay. Darryl, alcoholic. Damn. Feels good being here. I thought it was a two-speaker meeting. I was thinking, wait, no. I thought Lee was going to talk, and then and I was hearing Randy, and he wanted to hear the speaker. I'm going, no, I want to hear Randy. I want to hear more, because give them more chance to speak and let me sit down and just hunker down there. So here I am. I should thank Richard for asking me to speak. You might not do that once I'm finished. I don't know.
He told me you were good.
Well, I want to congratulate all the chip people and all the birthday people. And, man, I've had a good time since being here tonight, I'll tell you. And those bumper stickers that says, shit happens? Yeah. That's what's been going on in my life these last few days, the shit happening, and I've been sober for over 30 years now. Oh, thank you. Or all day, depending on how I look at it. I look at it like all day. I don't say this to pretend I have chevrons on my arm or, epaulets of a colonel or a general, and there's no saluting going on. We're all sober a day at a time. Alan was asking me, he says, how long have you been sober? I told him that. I said 30 years or all day, depending on. And I really like to look at it. I'm more impressed with today than I am 30 years, especially after these last few days. I swear to God, I'm more impressed with being sober today, And that's because of shit happens. One time at a meeting, I heard this gal talking. She had a real strong Southern accent, which told me she was probably from the South. And because I'm a very, quick alcoholic. Anyway, she said, hang in to this program like a tick on a hound dog, honey, because it's going to be the ride of your life, And, I want to just welcome you people that are coming in new. I swear to God. I'm glad you finally got here. The shit that you were doing out there has been training, Now you get to take off the training wheels, you know what I'm saying? Because we get to do things a whole lot different here. I'll tell you, I heard a lady one time, she said, I began my recovery when I took my first drink. And I thought, yeah, that sounds about right, We talk about how you don't regret the past, things like that, and I don't regret the past, I guess, because had it not been for me learning how to drink, maybe I'd have been just about I'd have stayed or remained a 5'2" cardboard cutout with no personality or anything, But learning how to drink, when I was able to drink, it gave me a personality. It let me. I was raised in a. Oh, I got to tell you, I've been sort of like down these last few days. I'm kind of going through an internal struggle because my head is telling me all kinds of things, but my spirit's intact. And thank God I learned that here. What I've learned here is that the program of recovery is, that we have these simple steps, and these steps can lead us to a consciousness of spirituality, which is the best thing I've found since being on the planet. I'm a very intense person, When I was growing up, I was born in San Francisco in a real nice family. And I was raised a Catholic, and I was an altar boy and drank the wine and stole some of the money. And but I'd visit, I'd do some visits in the church once in a while. When other kids would go play, I'd go visit, in the church. And I was taught to develop faith in God, And so I wound up in Alcoholics Anonymous. And when I first heard people talking about God, it pissed me off. made me angry. I'm thinking, well, I've had all kinds of faith in God. Look where I am, And I didn't want to hear about the God thing because it just didn't work for me, see? And didn't want to hear about it. But I remember standing in the room in Ohio Street on some of those spring mornings or spring in summer when the sun would beat down on the cars out in the parking lot, and I could look at the back wall and there were some shadows that were reflections of some heat that was coming off the cars. I couldn't see it coming off the cars, but I could see the shadows on the wall, and the shadows would simmer up the wall, and you could see this activity of something going on. There was some kind of an energy going on up the wall, and as the breeze would come through the room, those shadows would move with the breeze, And I began thinking, well, maybe there is a higher power here of some kind that's working, And there's been a kind of an evolution for me from those kinds of thoughts and that kind of a point to where I've really been able to, by the grace of God, grasp these, the program, the fellowship, like the laughter tonight coming in here, I mean, my God, I've been sitting home alone all day writing a report. And therefore I haven't spoken to many people. I've been writing since before 6 o'clock, well, around 6 o'clock in the morning. But I'm doing something to help somebody in this writing I'm doing. And I've had to take some time to do some meditation and take some time to take a break and read something spiritual because, see, I haven't had any alcohol for over 30 years or drugs. But the disease of alcoholism is a allergy of the body, of the substance, but it's also an obsession of the mind. And sometimes my mind will still kind of like get in there and want to mess with me, And so my head wants me to think that I am my thinking. And this stuff where the shit happens out here in the world, I can feel under attack from negative things in the world of, say, finance, in the world of work, in the world of affairs. And my mind, my head, kind of wants to pull me in and make me think that I am my thinking. And it's not the truth. I am a being. I found out in this program I am a being. I'm a spiritual being, and I have a mind. And that negative thinking is a false self. It's an ego, the false self. My real self is my spirit. So I sat today a few times thinking to myself, thinking again, see, what's going on? What's going on? I mean, I'm very accomplished in my work, and I help people. I helped a woman get out of prison one time. She was in prison for 16 years for a murder she didn't commit. And I was selected by this little old church lady to do some investigation, which I did, and I brought it back down to an attorney who wrote this wonderful, writ of habeas corpus, and the woman was released from prison. And there was a lot of people against this whole thing, people with titles of attorney and judges and prosecutors and lots of people in law enforcement. And that's where I used to be, but I drank myself out of that career. And I'm an alcoholic, and I was able to figure this stuff out and put it together and present it. And it's not because I'm so great a person, not at all. But it's by the grace of God and this program. Because I first came to Alcoholics Anonymous, I had drank myself out of a career. I drank myself out of being a husband and a father. you know. I come in tonight, and first thing I did, I was come walking in here, and I hear, Darryl, Darryl. So I turn, and there's Mickey Bush over here, and we start talking and laughing and scratching and having fun with him. Then Steve K over here walks in. Steve K and I used to drink in Century City. Oh, my God. One time he and his girlfriend brought this girl out for me to meet, and we were just crazy about each other the first 15 minutes. It was just great. And, boy, we were just having a great time. And she didn't want to go home with me that night. It was our first. I said, well, shit, if I can't be trusted or she can't be trusted, the heck with her, you know. So that was a relationship that lasted a few minutes, you know. And but we remained drinking buddies, haven't seen each other for a couple of decades. And he comes walking in tonight, you know. And over here is Sean sitting. I used to burp Sean. He was raised with my son. Sean is a crazy alcoholic. Thank God for the program. This man is crazy, you know. I thought he was dead. I really thought he was dead. I saw him and said, my God, is that you? Because he looks a lot better when he's, you know, when the effects of the program take over. So I come walking in here with the weight of, you know, of all my thinking on my head. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I've got to talk to people. You know, and, you know, I've got 30 years of sobriety. I should be a millionaire by now, living in a mansion. You know, I should have the greatest relationship on earth, you know. And I've got about $150 to my name. And I am living in a mansion. But I'm house sitting. It's like, you know, I'm homeless in a mansion, for Christ's sake, you know. And I'm thinking, what the hell am I going to tell people to uplift them, you know? Be sober for 30 years, and you too can have $150 in your name. You know? And then I thought, well, you know what? No. This is when I've really got to prove to myself that this shit works, you know? Because it's real easy when everything is on, you know, flowing. And, you know, last month I was in Hawaii twice, once in Maui, once in Honolulu. And we've been working on a case for a long time where a young man has been in prison for a murder he didn't commit. We've been going along for, the case has been about 13 years. I've been on it for about 11 here and there. And these kind of cases, they move at glacial speeds, you know. And I'm working with a family that is the most wonderful family. And, you know, they're not, they're upset, of course, but they're not vindictive. And they're wondering what the teaching of this whole thing is going to be for them and others. And they're so uplifted in consciousness, you know, and we have wonderful conversations and we do the work. Well, they had a situation take place where one investigator had his hands on this for the last 3 years and did nothing, and one guy had 3 months and he just screwed things up, and they had 2 weeks left, and they called me up and they said, can I come over? So I did. And I was able to accomplish things with them. And I say, not, you know, I had a guy that I knew here very well. His name was Chuck Chamberlain. And he used to say, I and the Father are one. And he didn't say it to be cute. He really fucking meant that. And so do I. There's no, you know, watch this, watch. I can't make a quick move. I can't make a quick move and get away from it. You know, it's still like, so I have to be at one with this consciousness despite the shit that's going on. You see? And you know, I mean, I was working with this one lawyer one time, and he had a kind of a faraway look in his eye. He says, you know, we've got the toughest job in the world. And I said, what's that? He says, we fight government. And I said, yeah. And sometimes you got to fight the clients too, man, you know. And so some people ask me, they say, how do you remain sane? Because I have a few of these cases that I've been working on since being in AA, you see. And they say, how do you maintain your sanity? And I tell them, it's just spirit. The only thing I believe in now is spirit. The only thing I see. Well, am I supposed to believe in government? Hey, you want to read the papers? Forget about it. You know? So, you know, I'm not going to be believing in government, but I can believe in God's spirit. God what? That's a 3-letter name as a kind of a tag on that you put on something that try to explain. Some people use different words, Dios, Dei, Allah, whatever, you know, whatever the concept is in your head and in your heart. But what I learned here, my God changed a whole lot since coming here. When I first came here, God was a magnified man in the sky with a big beard who was really pissed off at me, you know. And when I first came to the program, I remember some people talking about going out into the desert and making some kind of a what do you call it, meditation, you know, go out there for maybe 30 days or something like that, 40 days. And I thought, yeah, that'd be a good idea. Maybe go out there and, you know, put out a blanket and then just say, God, why is all this shit happening to me, you know? And I could just see clouds forming and then these two big hands come down and a big face and, because you piss me off, you know? I kind of felt like that. I thought, Jesus, I've done everything so wrong, you know? But my head's been turned around here, and my concept of God is a whole different thing. And I like the way it says here that, you know, God as you understand him. So that's cool, because everybody could have their own idea, their own opinion of it, you know. I got this stuff that's going on where I say, like, the shit happens, but that's not how I feel. It's just shit happening, okay? It's my thinking, okay? But I know that over here where I live, all is well. I know that I'm okay. And I figure, I guess it's God's plan that I stay here for a while, even though I got about $150, because otherwise, if he wanted me to be living on the other side of the rainbow, he'd probably take me over there, you know. So there must be something I got to do yet, and it'll show up on time and in time. It always has, and it always does, you know. And it's easy for me to go along with that consciousness as it keeps in the flow. But when it starts to drag a little bit and things start looking a little weird, you know, then I start thinking again. And the thinking will really mess me up. I didn't piss Jaime up, did I? So anyway, so I thought, well, okay, I'll just go down and I'll, you know, suit up and show up and I'll speak and let myself know, and perhaps others, that, you know, it's going to be okay. Man, this program, I was sitting here thinking before standing up here, what it would be like if I hadn't have been able to come here, if I hadn't have been brought here. The disastrous thing that I turned my life into, I was a husband, a father, I was a federal agent. I was designated as the intelligence officer. You ready for that? And, you know, we had meetings with other intelligence officers, you know, and I knew stuff, oh gosh, years ago, knew all kinds of stuff that, you know, we're seeing now on TV and things years later. But I didn't know how to live. I didn't know how to live, you know. And I didn't know that. I thought I was not only living right, but protecting you from all the bad stuff that could happen in the world, you know. And I was dangerous as hell out there, I'll tell you, you know. Drunk, carrying a badge and a gun. And, you know, I mean, some of the things that I used to think were righteous, I kind of shudder at now. And when I came here, I can remember sitting in meetings and just trying to check out what happened to this sterling young man growing up. And I couldn't find any answers inside. Couldn't find any answers. One time I was in a bar over in Century City, and since I stopped drinking, and Steve too, you know, a lot of those bars have closed up, you know. You know, where the Century House used to be, now it's a food mart. And there's one bar, they turned into a savings, a bank. I used to think, geez, what would it be like to go in there and have them put up a brass rail there, you know, and put your leg up on a brass rail and say, hey, how's it going? Hey, bring him a double Keo, and I'll have an Ira, and you have something for yourself, you know. You know, how things may have been, you know. But I'd go in there sometimes, didn't have any money, so I'd walk in and say, hey, Larry, give me a cutty water and give everybody here a drink, and you have one for yourself. Now, I had just cemented the fact I'd have about 16 or 20 drinks. I'd be there till closing time, or they'd have to say, there's no more liquor, you know. And that's how I'd go home finally, you know. And sometimes at 2 o'clock they'd say that, and I'd say, 2 o'clock, my God, you know, what are we, kids? In New York, they keep the bars open till 4, you know. Well, Tijuana's not that far. Let's go. And we just head for Tijuana, where, you know, they stay open around the clock. And, you know, around the clock tequila's good, you know, it's good. So just drink till it drop, you know. But I was in that bar one night, and I heard this scream of like somebody falling from a high building. You ever see those in movies? People go, ah, you know, and I heard this. Now I'm in the bar, and it's dark, and I was over in the one corner, and I heard this person, and now there's no high buildings. I mean, the bar isn't this tall, I don't think. But I heard that falling, and I was looking around, and nobody else seemed to hear it, you know. And I was wondering what the hell that was all about, you know. And as I started getting sober or being brought over here, and you know, my first few days in Alcoholics Anonymous was spelled D-A-Z-E, so I sat like this a lot, you know, just wondering what's going on here, and I liked it. I liked it. I mean, I remember my first meeting. I was introduced to people, and just like tonight, a lot of hot chicks when I was, you know, first brought in. I was looking at these girls. They were wild. They had these sparkling eyes, man, you know, and their cheeks were shinier than a spanked baby's ass, you know. And yet they had the semblance of scars like I knew about, you know, in their face from some of the travels that we've been through and survived, you know, and they were nice to me, and they were accepting me. Nobody asked me for a resume. Nobody asked me for a financial statement, and they were saying, "Oh, Darryl, keep coming back." Because sometimes I'd try and talk to them, and I'd say, "Well, I say, but I'm just, you know." I would pretend I didn't do that or say that, and they would, in collusion, also pretend I didn't, and they'd say, "Darryl, keep coming back." And I'd, "Well, yeah, sure." But nobody out there was telling me to keep coming back. Nobody. And I had a lot of friends at one time. One time I had a lot of friends that I used to buy. When I left the agency, I decided to become a millionaire. Yeah, don't laugh. It took 10 months. It took about 10 months, and there I'm a millionaire on, you know, on paper with this business I had begun, everything else. And well, I tell you, you know, if failure will screw up an alcoholic, try success. Holy mackerel! You know, I had about 50 employees, you know, and we used to hit the bars. And one time, I had a bar up in my office, too. It was a bar downstairs, but I had a bar in the office. Of course, you understand. You know, so I was downstairs with all these people. Now I'm surrounded by people in the bar. They're my employees and my friends, you know. And like that, I felt lonely as hell. And I said, hey, quick, give me a double tequila there, you know, and give some of these, and then boom, right away, and to have the drink, and not feel that aloneness kind of a thing. I'll tell you what, I don't feel alone tonight, you know, with you guys. It's amazing. See, like I told you, shit's happening. I can come in here, man, and I'll tell you, I've had more laughs tonight. And the key thing is I feel good. I feel good. I'm going to be 70 in 7 days. Thank you. And, you know, I look at my birth certificate sometimes and I think, Well, you know, my driver's license, you know how those driver's licenses lie, you know? You know, because I don't feel no 7-0, you know? And I'm thinking to myself, but wait, we got promises in this program, right? Yeah. So why am I living in the mansion? Well, I really am, but I'm really not, you know? But I'm thinking, come on, you know, there's a promise of prosperity, all this kind of stuff. So I have to start thinking of the things I have. You know, I have sobriety. I am sober. And I realized that, you know, things that I am cannot be taken from me. Things that I have can be taken from me. And I've, you know, through sobriety, well, that woman from the South was right when she said, hang in like a tick on a hound dog. You know the drill. Because that's what it's been a hell of a ride for me, you know, and I don't think I could have withstood it unless I had the training that I had, you know, in out there drinking and whatnot, and realizing that, like somebody said one time, said, you know, when we in Alcoholics Anonymous, when we die, we're all going to go to heaven because we know what it's like to live in hell. And the kind of hell that I had put myself into was something that was just amazing. And thank God that somebody brought me to Alcoholics Anonymous. And I couldn't pull myself back up, but you did. You could pull me back up. And you could restore me back to myself and back to my family and back to this higher power, back to my God. I think there must be some kind of a barrier between me and God. So God, would you please remove the barrier? I realized, wait a minute, God can't remove the barrier. God doesn't know how to make barriers between he and his kids. Doesn't know how to do it. So how can he possibly remove something he doesn't know how to make or remove? In his mind, which is kind of like infinite, I guess, you know. So I realized, oh, I'm the one who created the barrier, therefore I'm the one who has to remove it, you know. And sometimes I don't know where it is or where the handles are, because it's either a conscious thing or maybe a subconscious thing. But whatever it is, I want to intend it to be removed. And I want to intend, you know, thank God we have AA meetings every day, every night. If I belonged to some kind of a church and had to go to wait a week with this, you know, I wouldn't make it. But come in here tonight, you know, and the laughter begins at the door. I've known Mickey since, oh God, for years, I guess, a quarter of a century probably, more, 25 years. And Steve for more, you know, and Sean, and then a lot of you guys here, I know you for years, you know. And then to come in, and then a lot of the people that I don't even know and hear you talk about, like Ivan getting the cake for 10 years, being in Texas, coming out here to take, and talking about the musicians, a lot of kind of stuff. One time I was doing some work with a guy in jail, and Buddy Arnold was over there. Remember Buddy Arnold? And he was sitting over there, and I said, hey guys, I want to talk to this guy before I get out of here, so let me talk to Buddy, you know. And he says, Darryl, you know, he's a great guy. He says, Darryl, you know, hey. He says, I'm over here for a while. He says, you know, my mother wanted me to be a doctor, you know. He says, I didn't want to do that, but nevertheless, you know, I enjoy writing prescriptions. And you know, I can say his name now because he's gone. So, and I was able to help him. And when he came out, we were you know, we were close all the time, and everything else. And there's a closeness of people. You know, it's like finding my own tribe finally. And people here, you know, people in AA, they don't talk to me from the head. 2 minutes? Thank you, Rich. People don't talk to me from the head. They talk to me from the heart. And you know, when head talks to heart, my heart doesn't have a good time listening. But when heart talks to heart, heart can listen. And this is a language of the heart, it's a language of the spirit, and it's helped me. I hope it's helping you. Thank you very much. Yo!